Frank Lampard, club legend at Chelsea Football Club, you being at the stadium, was there any sort of angst or the crowd kind of turning on him a bit as the game went? Because this was a big opportunity missed for Chelsea across two legs.
Actually, no, not really. I think it was a much better atmosphere than I thought it would be. And certainly there were moments in that first half, as Ian alluded to, when I think the supporters started to believe. And honestly, I was kind of itching towards being alongside them. You know, what they saw there was what I think they want to see from Chelsea, which is a bit more front-footed football. This wasn't, the stale defensive possession of Potter, of the bad days under Tuchel, but they were going for it. They were swinging for the fences, and in the end, it actually all looked a bit. It kind of fell back on them, and it was a little bit embarrassing that by the final whistle they were getting carved apart by Madrid. But I think in the end, Chelsea fans appreciate that Lampard's team went about this the right way, and it's going to have to get a lot. I can't get bad enough over the next 7 games for them to turn on Lampard, because there's nothing to play for between now and the end of the season. Nothing at all.
James, would you question the starting lineup that Frank Lampard put out today, especially this game of this magnitude? Would you reckon that the approach that he did was right? Because for me, honestly, I have no idea how Havertz still starts for Chelsea, because I just don't see what he brings.
So that's the only one that after the game I still have questions about. I just really questioned it when I saw the team, and I saw the team coming in on the tube, and I was like, God, do I want to watch this 5-4-1? Let's try and get a 0-0 draw here so I don't lose again. But actually, I thought, Chelsea can't create with all their forwards on the pitch. So I think their best chances of getting goals is winning the ball in the Madrid third, in the opposition third, and kind of cutting out all the hard parts, cutting out all the creativity and just scrambling something in. But I do completely agree with you, Nigel, that Havertz doesn't work. I don't know what he's supposed to do. He's all right with his back to goal, but so skittish in front of it. Doesn't really look to take shots. He
doesn't look interested, James.
No,
he looks not interested at all.
But I don't know who I'd play ahead of him, because Madrid.
Honestly, for me, I would have started João Felix ahead of it. I know that obviously he hasn't been the greatest, but he's the most likely that will create an opportunity or a chance for everyone else at Chelsea. So for me, Havertz starting there, I think, and it's a bit harsh because I don't think
keeping him beyond this. If you're not keeping him beyond the summer, is there any point in starting Felix? Yeah, I don't even know if you are.
But he's still playing for a move somewhere else. So he will perform more so than Havertz, who's there and comfortable and just looks like he's bored at being at Chelsea. I think it's a bit harsh to over-criticize Frank Lampard because, like you said, I think this performance to me shows Chelsea need a striker. Chelsea need a real clinical striker. That's what that performance for me showed. Like we said, Chelsea could have been 2-0 up if they had a real striker by half-time, and it would be a complete different game. And on the other hand, it shows what Real Madrid are like. When Real Madrid are comfortable, they're not the best because they were there for the taking in that first half. Real Madrid played their best with their backs against the wall.
James, before you jump in here, I just want to let you know that only 2 managers have qualified for the Champions League semi-finals in 9+ seasons. Pep Guardiola was one and Carlo Ancelotti is the other one here. But in person, after watching that first half, the 2 big chances that Chelsea had where you would say you got to take one of them. Realistically, you should take both of them. But Courtois, once again, with the second opportunity from Cucurella. That was an unbelievable save. We got to see the replays, but what was it like in person for you? And that must have deflated a little bit at Stamford Bridge, recognizing that was a big chance gone.
I think especially with the timing and especially with the fact this crowd hates Courtois. And you had Rodrigo back here, and there was a warm smattering of applause. I'm sure there would have been the same for Eden Hazard, but because of the way he left, understandably, from a crowd's perspective, there is not any warmth to Courtois, despite a really good year at Chelsea. And I am certain, based on what we know of, how much he takes offence to what people say, what magazines, where they rank him as the best in the world. I know he will have raised his game to frustrate them. That was the other one is the Kante hook shot in the second half that bounces off Militao.
I thought it was Rio Coker.
Oh. Wait, Ian, don't make me go to HR.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Don't look alike.
He just dropped an F-bomb to start.
That was the moment that killed it, though, because, it was one of those things where if you're at the wrong angle in the ground, it looks like the ball's going in. And I think when those things happen, the crowd starts to think and believe and almost create the reality where they know it's just not going to be their day.
Yeah, James, Real Madrid, Manchester City, take two. We saw this last year. It yielded the winner of this going to the final and winning the UEFA Champions League. Have you seen anything, or did you see anything in person that leads you to believe that Real Madrid can get the job done against Manchester City? Should City continue what they're doing and get to the semifinal again?
I've spent every one of Madrid's last 5 European ties on this podcast saying that the English team is going to beat them, and I think eventually I kind of have to sort of. But this City team is the kind of the best one that they've come up against, assuming it is them. What strikes you is just the game intelligence of these players, their ability. And I know this isn't like stunning news to say that Luka Modric picks up really intelligent positions, but even when Chelsea were playing well, you could see Modric was putting himself in these positions where it wasn't, James didn't know what. Chelsea had made things complicated by trying to put Fofana kind of on his own against Vinicius and really use Reece James as a right winger. Modric had, within 5 minutes, he'd worked out where the space was, where the danger was, what he could do. It never came to anything. But when you kind of get to see the game in person, you do get to spot these moments that you're like, this could be a thing. And I think that is where City can really get hurt, is they will complicate things. Madrid are smart enough to see through those complications. I would still pick City though, and I know it's going to backfire on me.
James, I was going to ask you a question, but after your last statement there, I'm not going to ask you anything. I'm sure we're going to continue to discuss this game. But I like what you said. I was going to jump quickly because I've said it to Ian, I said it to Michael. When you said about the football intelligence of Real Madrid and you saw it live, you just have to applaud it, because Real Madrid are not a club that's system predominantly based on their style of play. It's about football intelligence and application and will to win. You see that with all the players, how comfortable they are to play out the back, even on their byline, to trust one another, to be able to know that if I pass that ball to him, he's going to keep it and secure it. And it's just simple football. They play like they're playing with their friends in the park. And we have to do nothing but applaud that, because their football intelligence, their choices of passes is sensational. James, are Real Madrid the best team in this Champions League? Yes or no?
Don't take the big James. Thank you.
But there is this huge chasm between City and them and everyone else. And whoever wins that tie will be really close. But the winner of that will be huge favourite for the final. I can't see whoever wins that tie not in the final.
James, real quickly before I let you go, obviously watching the game in person, I was very impressed. My man of the match today was Rodrigo. We got to give him a shout out. That's 15 Champions League goals for him now, one more than the great Zidane. Obviously the assists leading up to it, Valverde and Vinny Jr. with the assists. Outstanding team play in the final third. But Rodrigo really stood out for me. Great composure, not only with the finish, but also the way he started that second goal on the right-hand side. It was pretty impressive.
Oh, I love this guy. I mean, kind of a shout out for Eder Militao on the pass to Rodrigo in that first goal. But this guy is, it's like going back to what Nigel said. There's something about having spent all that time around these super smart players that he's learned. He's just learned where he's kind of got some of the instincts of Benzema. He's got the close control and the movement of Modric and Vinicius. He because they've had him for so long at such an early age, it's like they've designed their own player, their perfect player in a laboratory. And even in those chances in the first half as well, there's a menace, there's an aura about him. He's great. It keeps surprising me as well. First time I've seen him this good in the flesh though, and I've got to see quite a lot of Madrid over the last year and a bit because they keep knocking out English teams.